episode of
Welcome
Real
back,
Estate
guys.
Guru podcast. My name is Josh. This is the star of the show, Mario, and our smartest guy in the room is Ron. And so this is our second week of a podcast that we did a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So we're starting back up. We didn't go over a whole bunch of what we're going to discuss, so we're going to do it on a whim. And you good over there, Ron?
Yeah, I'm just turning my phone.
All right. So we got a guest coming up a little later. I would say about 30, 45 minutes from now.
You hear me?
And so let's get the podcast started. What's been happening since the last week, guys?
I definitely so opening up this morning, just to talk about a little bit of the stock market. It's down like 1,600 points. I always follow the stock market just to see what's going on in the economy. So that's definitely not good.
What about Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is down too.
Yeah,
everything. I like crypto's down, but that's definitely. I was gonna say predictions for like make year out predictions. I definitely think by the end of the year, beginning of next year, it's gonna be doing wild because there's some other factors involved. But it's supposed to be down because of the corona and the oil got hit, which is pretty bad for Houston.
Yeah.
So
people are gonna get laid off and lose their jobs.
Yeah, well, that happened. That happened in a few years ago where oil got hit pretty hard, and it has to get over I think $50, $75. Every time it goes below certain price points, certain companies get hit pretty hard. So, that always affects real estate, affects people going out to eat and stuff like that. So.
If you have tenants, that's bad. But if you're trying to buy houses,
kind of good. Oh yeah. Because it's gonna be people
laid off and they're gonna lose their houses.
Yeah, exactly. That's always there's a double-edged sword for everything. There's the good and the bad and the ugly. And when somebody's losing, somebody's winning. Sometimes like that. You know how it goes.
It's Monday.
So real quick, so what would you suggest to buy right now in stocks?
Okay, so what I've heard people buying, like things that are doing well, things like, because the stock market's going down because like the corona and all this corona fear, right? So the stocks that are doing well are like Netflix, things where people stay home. Things that are doing bad are things like hotels, people traveling, airline stocks. Those are the things that people, those are the things that people are staying away from. So if you went to the store, you're looking at people buying all these cleaning products. Those stocks are doing good. You know what I'm saying?
Masks and hand sanitizers.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, man. I was out looking for hand sanitizer yesterday. Cleared out. So a bottle of hand sanitizer probably on eBay goes for like $30. So. Yeah, people in there buying up all the hand sanitizer so they can sell it on eBay or whatever,
Do you subscribe to that? Like, do you go out and buy extra water and food and stuff like that?
Did I do it?
Do you do that normally?
I'll tell you this. Back in the day, I used to be a prepper, so I already got all that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
I have. I shouldn't even be saying that. Everybody knocking down my house. Yeah. But I bought some guns with that. So,
Yeah.
We stocked up too. We got like 5 cases of water.
Yeah, and it's not really because of corona. It's because people panic. You know what I'm saying? So when you need something, people already grab 4 or 5 of them. You know what I'm saying? Like Mario. No, I'm just kidding. You got 5 cases. Yeah, because it's just that's why I told. I was like,
I drink a lot of water though.
I'm gonna tell people.
I look at it like this.
Yeah,
we're gonna buy the water anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like it has an expiration date on it. So I went in there and cleaned out Aldi's.
Yeah. you know what I'm saying? And
but Costco had no water. Costco in Pearland.
Yeah, they sold out.
Dude, they had they have a whole aisle normally.
Yeah.
That's 4 foot tall of just water, and it's still all gone.
Yeah.
So the cat's out of the bag already, but it was Aldi's that had everything.
It's gonna I was thinking about all the little crises. I think I sent you a little text about it. And I was like, It's 2020 Corona, and then 2014 Ebola, and then 2009 H1N1 swine flu, and all the SARS, and it's all just what I'm saying, a lot of fear, and then people reacting, and then people are making money off of it. So. But
I don't think that the coronavirus is as deadly as the flu yet. Well, that's facts.
Yeah.
But
Well, I would just say, man, you don't know everything because it's because it seems like it's a lot of fear mongering. So, some of it's true and some of it's not. You just got to be able to filter information, you know. So,
exactly. There's a lot of it's a lot of fear going around right now. So
yeah,
I just say prepare yourself as you normally would. And for some people that's none, but you gotta watch. Like I wash your hands a little more.
Yeah,
it's really all it is clean hygiene.
Yeah.
Stop being nasty, and you should be all right.
They were saying like people under 10 were immune or something like that, or I don't know about that.
Old?
10 years old, and then it was people over 60 got to worry. So I don't fall into any of those categories. I mean, I'm not 10 years old, so I'm not immune, and I'm not 60. So
I think that it's something. I don't believe in conspiracy, but I believe in coincidences. But so like, I think like this thing is manufactured.
Yeah.
Because how does a child not able to get the disease or the virus? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then how is it that we can fight it off? And I know it's compromised immune systems are what they worry about. But if it just feels like something is manufactured.
I mean, from what I've heard, I think that they're trying to boost the numbers of the people infected with, because you can't really test it. They say they have tests for it, but the tests are really inaccurate. So if you got the flu, sometimes they're reporting it as the corona. You know what I'm saying? Because of, you were infected in an area that somebody supposedly had the corona, so you probably have it because you got the symptoms, which are the exact same symptoms of the flu. So, anyways, how you think that you could, like, is there any way that you think that this can affect the economy or the real estate in particular, or are you just like, it's going to come and go,
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, these things, they come and they go. I think it definitely is going to affect the overall economy just because people are going to probably lose their jobs and shit because of excuse my French, but because of like if the stock market goes down, I think that definitely that's money coming out of certain companies. So they're not going to be like hiring, stock market keeps going down, man.
Yeah, my boy, he's like, he texted me last night. He was saying that he was scared he was gonna lose his job. He was gonna have to get unemployment, and then he was gonna get a severance pay. And I just told him that he could start wholesaling with me. And
why would he lose his job?
He said that
he's in oil and gas.
It
went down. It got a big hit today. It got hit big today.
But does that have any that? I'm dumb to the dumb to the oil hit right now. There's usually a reason, but does it have anything to do with the coronavirus?
No, it has something to do with Saudi Arabia, dude. I just heard he got hit, and then they were talking about Saudi Arabia did something. But a lot of it to me, it's just noise. It's like noise. They just come up with some excuse. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of what Saudi Arabia was doing before, what they were doing, they were driving the prices down because there was a lot of people in Texas. They were doing fracking, which they cut that out. They cut it out because what happens under like $75 a barrel, the frackers can't make no money. So what they were doing, they were withholding the supply. No, they were adding to the supply. They were dumping the supply. They're dumping more on the market to drive the price down. So they're putting the frackers out of business. So it's like once your business goes out of business and the price goes back up, it's like, well, my business I've already went bankrupt. You know what I'm saying? So it's a strategy to it.
Is that greed or good business strategy?
I mean, if you're the business, it is a little bit of both. There you go. Yeah. So I mean, I don't like the fact that people are losing their jobs, but this. I mean, I'm not on their level. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, let me ask y'all a quick question. I had like a little debate earlier. Do y'all think real estate is like really slow as far as like closing and how long it takes to get your money, and then like people starting off like it might take them a couple of weeks and they don't have that a couple of weeks, so they gotta. What do y'all think about?
What do you mean? What do you mean slow? Like there's definitely
say deals
like the process.
Yeah, like deals might take like a month, like to close, like clear the title.
Okay.
Find your seller, your buyer, or even having a rehab. Like, what do y'all think about the whole situation?
So you're in the deal flow when it comes to real estate, and you're bringing up some good points, but this is all linked together. Okay, so if banks are all invested in all this stock market stuff, right? And let's say banks are betting in a certain direction and they're losing, then they become insolvent, and then there's less free cash for them to let. They're going to be more stringent about letting people borrow money, which tightens up the real estate market, right? Mm-hmm. That's what happened in '08, is when banks were going insolvent, and so what they were doing, banks were afraid to lend to each other, and so what happened is that people couldn't get. You might see a deal, but you couldn't have access to capital, so you had to go to private money.
Did you watch The Big Short?
I watched it in chunks, man. But yeah, that's
banks were lending to people that were not qualified for mortgages.
Oh, ninja loans.
That was before the crash.
Yeah, before the crash. So that's another thing. So banks, the reason why banks became insolvent because they were doing something called mortgage-backed securities, which is when they package all these bad loans and then they sell them off to these pension funds and all these other people, and that's what The Big Short was about. Is like, hey, banks, you had them banks rating them as A+ loans or A+ stuff, and they were really like junk.
FD,
they were junk. They were junk, right?
Yeah, that's what Ryan Gosling's character was. He was showing that.
Yeah, and I mean the same thing. They're still trying to date. The thing is they never fixed all this stuff from 2008. It's the same stuff is still going on, but it's actually worse now.
You think it's worse?
I mean, they never fixed it. They never really. They just changed a few things around. But okay, so I see what I know what you're saying, because people used to be able to like just say, "Hey, I'm making 100,000, but just put in a check stub and
they'll just give it to them."
Yeah, you know what?
Like, and then when I got my Quicken Loans loan in 2014, that was my first rental.
Yeah.
Like, man,
you might be right.
They checked everything.
Yeah,
they checked my statement, how much I was making. They verified.
But what year was that?
That was 2014.
Okay, so that was 6 years ago, right?
Yeah, that was after the recession, but
they've been slowly loosening restrictions. But I see what you're saying, because you're right, because I did try to get a condo, and it was like give them a stub or something like. But like you could have just wrote down, "This is my paycheck," and then printed your name, and they would have took it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that was in 2006.
That's 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
but that's what led to all the bad loans.
Yeah. That's my point.
I was like, are banks really this stupid? They didn't really care. They were doing it on purpose.
Because rates were up.
Did they
6% back then?
I don't remember, man.
Rates were up. Yeah, rates were high. 6.25, 6.5.
But what they were doing is they're trying to package these bad loans, and they were trying to put off the risk onto the dumb people, the pensions and stuff like that.
Did they at least run your credit?
My credit wasn't messed up, so I don't know.
I'm asking, did they run it to?
No, I'm sure they did. Yeah. I'm sure they know. I'm sure they did all that.
That was back when you could buy a house for $500.
They were like, yeah, man. I was in school. This is the reason why I'm saying, because I was in school. And I was approved to,
You was in college or high school?
I'm a chiropractor. I was in chiropractic school. So, so I was back in the day. And I was like, they were hesitant. Like, this dude's a student. He didn't really have any, like, I had some income from the military, but.
That's all you needed.
Yeah. By the way, I was in the military. So.
I wish I would have capitalized back then, like.
Well, that's what everybody was, because a lot of people that weren't scared, they made a lot of money in 08, 09, because I remember there were...
like Graham Stephan, he brought most of his rental properties during...
Yeah,
He brought probate. He just would go back and forth with the mortgage company and tell them and just negotiate, and then he got these really good deals.
The thing is like, there's a quote by Warren Buffett is, was it a buy... He's like, when everybody's greedy, what is it? When there's blood in the streets, you buy, even if it's your own blood, right? So I mean, it's pretty much like that. Buy when everybody's greedy and sell when everybody's not buy when everybody's greedy. Sell when everybody's greedy. And buy. I'm like, whoa. That's still going in the trend. So, yeah.
Well, let me ask everybody, what is everybody's at the table's worst purchase? Like, just the worst.
Worst purchase?
Worst purchase?
Like, just something you regret buying that you spent a lot of money on that you could have brought something else and actually made some money.
That's okay. I mean, I'll tell you this. I've been in like a Ponzi scheme before, like where you're sending your money out. I literally, this is where I learned. This is where I learned that the world is a bad place. And that's why I just don't operate like that no more. So
What year
everybody
was
was
this? What year?
no. This was in 2004, 2005, and this is like I had loan money that was from school. I don't know if that's illegal or illegal. Whatever, come get me back. It's past the the statute of limitations. So, anyways, and so there was this Ponzi scheme, but I didn't know. I thought it was called. It was like Coombe Investments or something like that, and it was overseas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you send your money, and people were making money off this thing, man, right? And so I get in it, and it was like $5,000, dude.
So
And I was a student.
That was cash from your student
Huh?
loans.
It was from my student. It's probably I don't know. A little bit. My money's mixed everywhere, right? So I'm not gonna say it was totally. It was $5,000, right? And so I was just like, and I was listening to all these people saying they were making all this money, dude, and it was like 25%.
Wow.
25%, which is ridiculous, guys. This is
But
ridiculous.
that goes to that. If it's too good to be true,
I didn't know that because I was ignorant.
For people that don't know, 25% of what, like
5,000.
yeah. So that was return on your investment.
Yeah. Return on my
and
I put in 5,000, so I think I was getting like 500 a week. I don't know. It was. I got
any market. 25% is a big return.
Yeah, no. It was ridiculous. If you didn't even, I didn't really understand the investment. I just wanted the money, right?
Yeah.
So I was always into passive income, and I was like, "Whoa, this is passive income." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really vet the idea good enough. I just went on the internet and saw people saying, "Yeah, I got my money back." You know what I'm saying?
Why you didn't buy a rental property and then rent it out?
I mean, I was trying to do all that, man, because I was trying to buy the condo, and I was trying to do all that.
Also, this is the same year?
Yeah, I was trying to do everything.
Oh,
I was in school, right?
How old were you?
Let's not get into I was 40 back then. You know what I'm saying?
This is 2006.
Yeah. You like got people. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, no. So, anyways, I did it, and as soon as I sent the money off, I knew I did wrong, and I was just like, I got scared. Like as soon as I hit the button, bam, I just knew that it was the stupidest thing I ever did, and that's like. But then a week later, I got some money back, and then when I got some money back, I was like, "Damn, I should probably put more in this thing."
That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted.
Exactly, but I didn't because probably like I got back like $2,500 back.
Wow.
Yeah, I got $2,500 back, and then
So
it all collapsed. It collapsed, and everybody. I know somebody that put 50 G's of his like father-in-law's money in there. Man, yeah, it was crazy. So when that whole Big Connect came with the crypto, there was another one. There was a Ponzi. I didn't even put a dime in there. The old boy was asking me, "Did you put money in Bitcoin?" Hell no. That thing didn't make sense. It was pulling like 3% a day. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about Bitcoin?
No, it was a Ponzi scheme where you give up your Bitcoins and you get these Big Connect tokens, and then you can cash them in. And a lot of people were making money off of it. But
I don't think I even heard of that one.
Nah, he asked me about. Old boy asked me about it, and I was just like, nope. Nah, I'm a little bit more guarded. I mean, a little bit too guarded sometimes because you'll pass up good deals, and like I knew about Bitcoin when it's $1, but the whole thing didn't make sense to me. I was like, nah, it's a Ponzi scheme.
now everything's a Ponzi.
I'm more skeptical. I know why I didn't go with it because the whole thing didn't make sense. So, anyways, next. Your worst purchase.
Yeah.
What's your worst purchase, dude?
My worst purchase was my Charger in 2008.
Oh, yeah, you told me about this. Yeah, go ahead.
And then, I brought $5,000 rims.
You put $5,000 rim?
Yeah,
Okay.
$5,000 rims. I brought the grill. I brought a Viper.
Alarm, the Viper alarm.
Yeah, Viper alarm. The interior. I probably put like $8,000 right back into the car. It wasn't even paid off. And then like I sold it like a couple of years back for like $4,000.
You got 4 for that thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or
No,
it was worth about
there's
$1,500.
Yeah.
but look. I mean, I probably put after like everything. The car probably was like 27,000, and then I put another. So that's $35,000. I could have, and that was during the recession. So I could have probably went to South Park Sunnyside, brought like 5 houses, 5,000 a piece.
But you like
25,000 and put renters in there for like what $500-600, and they would have probably been paid out by now. So
But the thing is like, dude, like life is like going through stages of life. Like you had to do something really stupid. Like me, I had to do that stupid thing in order to not do it again.
But
you have to go through those periods.
What I don't like about the situation is like why wasn't like there other avenues around me that would have told me different?
Well, that's mine because you don't know what you don't know, right? That's how I say it. You don't know what you don't know, and then when somebody opens your mind, it's hard to go back to what you were doing before. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, your turn, Josh.
I'm blaming our parents.
No, I was gonna say that, but you know what? It's like they don't know. They got screwed. They got screwed too. You know.
I'm just making a joke.
No, but I would have did that regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless of what.
But you're not gonna do. You're not gonna make
You know what
that,
that's called, right?
Yeah.
Progress.
Exactly.
It's progress. So I mean, you're just going to the next step. Progress up is what matters. So it's progress.
You're not gonna you're gonna tell your son, you know, and you're gonna educate him. Like, why are you doing that? And he probably is gonna say, I'm gonna do it because I want to. He's gonna talk mess to you about it, you know.
No, that's cool. He could fall on his face if he wants to.
But he's gonna look back after he does it, and he's gonna say you're right.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I did the same thing. That's fine.
Yeah. What's your worst purchase or something you regret as far as monetary that you know?
I think the things that I regretted are things that I didn't do at some point. I mean, we all have a bad car purchase. We all have something that we bought that you know, either it wasn't worth anything when you left, or you know, you end up just throwing it away. A lot of stuff we end up just throwing away. It becomes junk at some point. But some of the things that like, there was a house one time when I was trying to get heavy into real estate that was off of Airport in Cullen, right over here.
Is when you met old buddy that I met?
No, it was way before that. And
since 2006, what you say?
I don't know what year it was. I wasn't. It's been more than 10 years ago.
Is it older house or new house?
It was an older house.
Okay.
And you know, back then I didn't know enough about the rehab process.
Yeah.
Because it scared me. I was like, man, the whole thing's got to get done.
Yeah.
And then when I found out that it needed foundation work, I was like, you know, I that's way above my head. So I was looking for like an easy. This is actually before my first flip. Yeah, it was one of the ones I was considering buying. And then the one I actually bought worked out good. Like, it was in Humble, which is further the way I wanted to go. But I went in with a buddy of mine, which is actually my brother-in-law. And
you talking about JP?
No, my brother-in-law, Dalvin.
Oh, Dalvin?
Yeah, so we did that house together. That was both of our individual first flips. But there was another house that I was looking at before I brought him in, because I was like, man, maybe I need a partner, because you know, I don't want to get it on my head. He was in the real estate. He was a real estate agent.
Did you know about hard money loans back then? No.
I just found out.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, so I went in a ride. I took my brother-in-law to go look at the house, and he was like, man, I think this house was like 78, 74, 72. I can't remember the numbers.
And how much it cost, or the ARV?
No, that's how much it cost. They wanted like 72, 74. It could have been in the 60s. And so I showed it to him. I was like, man, I think the house is worth 125 to 130 all day long. And so he ran his comps, and he was like, yeah, man, this house will sell like that for 130. I was like, man, 70 to 130. I said, I only see 20 grand worth of work, 20, 25. And I was actually under that. I mean, the work costs more. So, again, it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
But there was enough room there to make money.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, yeah, but where we're going to get the 70 grand from? And I said, don't worry about it. I got that covered. And he thought I was, you know, he thought some trick up my sleeve. And I was like, no, it's called hard money. I was like, and this is what they do. And then once I showed him that and how hard money worked, because he was oblivious to it. We jumped in. We got the cash.
What did you use?
Jet. Yeah. Yep. Another learning experience. Yeah. But
man, I haven't had really good experiences with them.
Yeah. You said you had good? What? No?
I mean, for what they were at the time, they're okay. But then when you know there's better options out there, you go find somewhere else. But Jet is, it's a Houston-based company, and they do a decent job. I'm not gonna say they're bad, but
I don't like them.
Well, that's just, you know, that's
my
but
opinion.
I've heard that from various sources, and I heard people that love them. You know?
I heard that from a lot of people too.
Yeah, so they've changed management hands, and it's, you know, it is what it is. But at that time, without Jet, we wouldn't have bought the house. So
how much you made?
I forgot. I think we both walked away with like 18, 19,000 a piece.
19 a piece?
A piece,
That's
yeah.
Nice.
So, But the regret was there was a house right here for 14,000 I could have bought, and I think it would have sold for like 80 or 90.
How much was it was for 30?
14.
14?
14,000.
Did you run it by old buddy?
I didn't even know about Jet back then. No,
Okay.
so I was just gonna buy it cash.
But did you know about him though?
Who?
The guy,
Which guy? Give me.
Thirsty.
Oh, I did not. No, I
Okay.
did not. No, I didn't. I didn't.
You know what's crazy? You know what's piggybacking on what you're saying? After I met him, right? I went to go. He was like, "Yeah, go get a house, go get a mortgage on it," and then he was like, "Move in there, build the equity up and then sell it." So I plan on doing that. So but he told me,
But it worked.
but hold on, but he told me stay away from Third Ward, South Park, Sunnyside. There was a house over there like remodeled for 30. If I would have brought that house for 30 back in 2014,
Yeah.
dude.
So without, I think there's a lot of things that we both learned from him.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of lessons we both learned from him too. It was a mentor that we both used early on, and what he pushed me to do was actually do it. Because I remember one time I was like, man, I've been, like I said in the old podcast, I've been studying real estate since I was a kid, and so when I started learning about hard money and all this other stuff, I started looking around. I was like, man, I can actually go buy something, and with my knowledge, I should be able to do it. And so I would go to his. Somebody told me he was working on the house. So I walked up to him one time. I was like, "Hey, somebody said you're working on the house. You mind if I just pop up and look and see what's going on?" He was like, "Yeah, come on."
Of course.
So he did. He was doing all his own work, which I don't advocate either for him or Mario. Yeah. He was doing all his own work. It took him a year to rehab a house, but because they lived in it, and I was like, bad business plan, but hey, it works for them. I think they're doing okay now. Yeah. I don't know. So, I think I was just starting my companies, and
how old were you?
I can't remember. That was at least 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
7 years ago.
I don't know.
I don't know. So, anyway, and this is what he said to me one time, and he kind of put me in check. Is I would go there for like maybe a month straight, and he was like, "Man, you know all this stuff, Josh." He's like, "You even know how to do the work." And he's like, "Cause you're telling me what to do next." I was like, "Man, don't put that floor down. Do this floor," and blah blah blah. And I took them where to go because they were new to Houston.
Yeah.
And then so one day maybe I got on his nerves or something because I kept asking the same questions, and he was like, "Hey man, let's just not talk about real estate no more." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Yeah, cause you're never gonna bust a move." Yeah. I said, "Oh, okay, okay, messing with the wrong dude." And then I went out, and within 15 days, I had a house on the contract.
Yeah.
And that was just because somebody told me I couldn't do it. He's like, "Yeah, you're not gonna do it." I was like, "All right, I got you."
So he put that battery on your back.
Yeah. So I was like, "All right, I got you."
And then, what's funny, when I met him, he was like, man, he was just like trying to encourage me to start, and he was like, he kept on saying, "Josh," he was like, "Man, Josh has made 70,000." I was like, "Josh." I thought Josh was a black guy.
Yeah.
And then I was just pulling up on him like every day, watching him work and asking him stuff and blase. And then Josh pulls up, and I was like, "Oh no, you talking about this Josh? This is the Josh?" And then I got his phone number, and then we reconnected.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't know that I knew Mario.
Yeah.
Mario rolled up, and I was like, "Mario, little Mario," because I know Mario. He was a kid.
Yeah.
And but like I said, we learned some things.
Yeah, we did.
We learned some lessons.
We learned a lot. No,
I didn't learn that hard of a lesson.
Yeah. No. You know, I spoke to my wife the other day about it, and it wasn't like Chelsea where she just lost. Like he did what he's supposed to have did.
Yeah.
So
I think ultimately what happened in that situation, I want to go in big detail about it, but what happened in the situation with Mario is he actually gave Mario the opportunity to start real estate.
Yeah.
Because without it, he would have been. In other words, his business got put on steroids.
Yeah.
With funding,
Yeah.
and so without the funding, he'd have had a hard time.
I mean, ultimately, I could have got everything on my own because I had my credit score was 770 at the time. So he just, like Josh said, he just propelled it and took it to another level. But I could have did that on my own. I just needed the guidance and the
confidence
push and the push, kind of like Josh. So and it is what it is.
It's good to have a mentor, like you were saying last week. It's good to have a mentor. But that's what gives you confidence because a lot of times you just want to know that you're doing stuff the right way. You don't want to take a big loss.
Just gotta choose your mentor wisely.
Yeah,
exactly, because I think people take advantage of you. I'm a pretty skeptical dude of a lot of stuff, so you don't have to be that way, but I'm just saying.
What I paid him is stuff that people pay for all these
Yes,
guru classes and stuff.
Yeah,
essentially he
paid
that.
It's the same thing because I talked to Leandre. He paid what's that class you go to that you signed up for?
I don't market for them because
it
was a wholesaling class.
He paid them like 20. So
no, I mean the wholesaling class only costs $500, and they show you how to do everything from A to B.
I forgot what the name of it, but he paid them 20, and they showed them how to flip, and then they got their contractors, and then he started. So
I don't think you need to spend that much money. I think it's better. No, okay, so you're talking about something like there's a I don't know. I'll just call them a Lifestyles Unlimited or groups.
It wasn't Lifestyle.
Rich Club.
It was. I think it was Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think he.
I don't know about them. I don't want to talk bad about them, but they don't have a lot of control over who they're working with, from what I've heard, because they've been sued.
It might even be a franchise.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a franchise where they had some people in there that really. I've heard that were like Rich Dad has their name on it, but they're not really going through the process.
You know what I do recommend? I recommend if you're starting off, I recommend We Buy Ugly Houses.
Maybe.
Because they'll.
I had a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you go to the DJ Envy's real estate class yet?
No.
I'm kind of curious. Like.
Is it here or is it going to be?
Well, he does it all over the U.S.
Okay.
And shout out to DJ Envy.
Isn't it wholesaling though?
No, well, it's a little bit of everything, but he advocates.
He's trying to teach the community
a whole lot.
Okay.
I've
heard him talk about it
for real estate. So, they go to, I know there was one in New Orleans. Like Alan went to one. AK.
Yeah.
And
you told me about it.
What I'm fearful of is paying the money to go see it, and then. It's just the basics, the very beginning. I think it's going to be probably is the basics.
It's always going to be basics. They're not going to give you a lot for free, and you could just start.
I would say if you're going to do it, there's free stuff first. Yep. You go do the free route, which is the Real Estate Investor Houston or whatever. What is it called? The RIA?
Yeah, the REA Club.
Yeah, they meet once a month, right? Isn't that what you go to the RIA stuff? You went to RIA once.
I'm not talking about with you that time at the hotel.
No, you didn't go with me. You told me that they're Real Investor, that we meet once a month. Every small town has one.
You talking about
what are they called? They're called RIAs, right?
You talking about Jets thing?
There's a bunch of them, but
but they have one for Houston. They got one. If you go to Atlanta, they got one.
I really don't go to seminars no more unless I'm just networking.
No, well, that's what I'm saying.
I've been to Lifestyles. They're all right.
Yeah. But the RIAs, that's what they are. They're networking. That's why they give free information. They give a lot of free information because they want you to network either with hard money lenders or you're networking with other wholesalers. You just got to grab as many cards you can because if you're trying to unload a house, it's easy just to put all those numbers in there or send a bunch of emails out and then put some pictures of the house, press send, and see who responds back.
You know what I do? This is like a gym. I'm about to drop a gym.
Ding, we need a little ding, 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 ding. Gym time.
Clues bombs.
Yeah.
When I have a wholesale deal and it's taking a long time to upload. I write the how much I'm selling it for, the comps. I put it on the poster board, and then I go to the auction.
Poster board.
Yeah, I put it on a big poster board.
Uh-huh.
I write out everything. The comps.
Oh, I saw that. That was pretty smart.
Yeah, I write down the comps, the ARV, the rehab, and I go to the auction. And mind you, the auction has
investors,
multi-millionaires, like people that got LLCs and they're combined, and they got there's probably like $1 billion in there.
There's a lot of funding in there.
There's $1 billion in that room.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I just hold it, and then random people just come up to me like, "Oh,
are you allowed to do that?" I saw I would be pissed off.
They stopped you?
No, they never. People do that all the time.
Oh, you saw this was your idea, or you saw somebody else?
I saw somebody doing that last year.
That was up. Yeah.
I think last year, or the year before, and then after that, I was like, "Oh snap!"
This is what they doing.
No. It wasn't a poster board. He said that he said that I sell houses on his shirt.
Yeah.
And asked me how, and after that, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna put it on a poster board.
Put a sign,
And then after that, then when I did it, then everybody else started doing it.
Oh, so You're a game changer. All right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hey man, it was
Hey,
like
you need to
mad
put on
people
there.
coming up to me.
Take a picture of this. Like, put on there. Take a picture of it. Let them. So they walk up and just take a picture.
No,
of this
they
one.
was.
They do.
They
Yeah, that's
was.
what's up.
Yeah, they'll come up to me, take a picture. They'll ask me questions, and then I'll get their phone number. I'll have my business card ready,
Yeah.
and then I'll just hand them out. I'll get theirs.
Have
I'll
you
call
sold
them.
one from
I
that?
sold one house, one wholesale
That's
deal.
all that matters.
Yes, that's the bet, man. Just if you got a wholesale deal, it's you going down to that deadline. The last you got a month to unload it. Go to the auction every first Tuesday of the month. I'm not gonna tell you the location, but that's extra.
Figure it out.
That's extra.
Yeah.
Just I stay on the iPad, but you know that company Mint Dentistry,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
How do you know about them?
I mean, commercials. They
Right.
have commercials all the time on the
Yeah.
radio. Yeah.
Dude, they spend so much money advertising, but
Yeah.
it works.
It's like jail.
I haven't become a customer yet,
How-
but it works.
I know, right?
Everybody knows when you say Mint Dentistry, everybody knows their billboards.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
like-
like that's one way that billboards work. Believe it or not,
It's like we
because
buy
I was a
houses.
kind of not a fan of billboards
Mhm.
anymore, but they work.
You know what?
But-
Go ahead.
It's a massive budget
They're
to
expensive.
be
That's
able
what
to
I
do
was
that.
gonna say. I was saying that when you build out, like whenever you had a business, the things that people don't think about is marketing, right? They don't think about marketing. They don't think about accounting, right? These are things that I'm gonna have a business. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But you got to be able to let people know you exist, right? So you got to say 7% of my budget, all of that money, even though it's a lot of money, is going to go to marketing. Just 7%. So you don't go, because people over market too.
Yeah, they do.
So you just got to say 7%, no more, and then
Well, they market in the wrong areas.
Uh-huh.
They spend their money where it
Mhm.
doesn't give them a return. So I tell the phone rings at our office all the time of people trying to sell you either ad space or magazine space or all sorts of, you name it, and they're calling you. And that's their job, is to call you and pitch it out to you. And I tell my mom, because she works for me, I say, hey, if it's an ad space or this, that, I said, just, again, it turns into a gatekeeper. I was like, just tell them we're not interested. We're not doing any paper print right now. But people who may have a small budget somewhere,
yeah,
they'll jump on that like, man, I gotta advertise, I gotta do this, but you don't know if that's really gonna work for you.
Yeah.
For some people, that magazines work. So for some people, billboards will work. Some people, other avenues. Facebook works. So you gotta figure out where you're gonna spend your money at and what's gonna give you that rate of return.
everything
How much-
changes too.
How much do you spend
Yeah.
on
Advertising?
Marketing every month.
Whew. If I had to, well, I should know these numbers, but I don't. Somewhere in the ballpark around 10 grand.
A month?
Yeah.
Dang.
Damn,
Yeah.
bro.
I didn't step my
And
game
That's just
up.
the case.
Is
That's
that
the cost of doing business, man.
Is that 7% of your budget? Whoa.
No, it's probably
Let me.
it's probably no. It's less than that.
Wow.
So I mean, I don't talk numbers here, but
Damn, we already know him, bro.
But you gotta
Let's talk numbers, man.
but you gotta
Lunches.
but
on Josh.
when you look at it, you don't. If you don't spend the money, you don't get the business.
No, you're right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the same way. If you ever deal with some of those real big wholesalers and they're dropping 50 grand on marketing.
Yeah.
If they don't spend that money, they don't get the deals.
Yeah.
And but they're flipping 100 houses a month.
Yeah.
On wholesale deals. But it's like a factory. Once you have the I guess the equation,
Yeah.
then you just duplicate it. It's a factory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The most I heard was he's with We Buy Ugly Houses. He spends like $7,500 marketing.
That's
So-
low.
That's the most.
That's low.
The big thing about
I've heard
that
more.
is pretty. When we talk about franchises, I heard. I mean, it's not that bad to actually buying was it We Buy Ugly Houses? Like, I don't know how much it is.
Franchise. Yeah.
No, but
It's
the only thing about that is they have packages, and then if you get the most package, then they'll have like a secretary, then they'll have a salesman that goes out there and he offers to buy the house for how much how much he.
I think you
asks.
should do a class, dude. Just
What?
to do a sign up and make it cheap, like a 20 people.
No, I was a part of one of those
Yeah.
with Leandre. I was just like one of the guest speakers. I'll see about it in a couple of months or like next month or something.
Man, you
something
gotta be
like
able
that.
to the way that old girl was organizing the information. That's what I was saying. You gotta be like like you said, you had a friend in HR that knows how to do all that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You need to get with that person because you want to be able to, like, you have so much knowledge, but a lot of people just don't be able to organize their information. So
into a training module.
That idea you had last year when you was talking about getting Jonathan to do it for me about the little.
You called him out.
The little 25. Yeah, I thought about that. I think that was a pretty good idea. Where they'll buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
it's a great idea.
Even with the class,
can I do it and just put your name on it and then I give you some profits?
That's cool. I'm down with that.
But just are you like?
But your students can also become your like with the class that I was gonna go to. The lady, her students they're the one that feed her the deals, and they partner in the deals.
That's why they do it. That's why they do
it.
That's why
it's $500. It's normally I would charge $1,500, but since y'all are feeding me the deals, it's like, hey, we can both benefit.
Or they go half. They go like the first. I know a guy. He was like, your first 3 wholesale deals will go half, and then after that, you're free to do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So no, about as far as the franchise, I'm gonna go back because I heard that it was actually pretty profitable to do that whole We Buy Ugly House. It's like $30K to do the franchise, but then they got a massive marketing campaign now. You know, everybody's heard that before. You know, so I just feel like I don't know, man.
The only thing about them is like they get so many phone calls. They get like a lot of deals that fly through the cracks.
I mean, that's wonderful.
No.
That you get that many deals that you have to throw them away is like,
I knew somebody working for them, and they were like throwing me the deals that they didn't want.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was cashing out basically.
They said like it's there. I don't know how much it was, but from the guy was a franchise. It's a guy named Franchise City. He owns a thing is called Franchise City, right? And he was talking about how profitable it was, and he was talking about, hey, it's only $30K, but you got to have some massive capital in the back end. You might have like $200K just laying in the bank.
So you need liquid like.
I think so. I don't know, but I don't know.
That's a lot of money.
$200K? What? Come on, man. If you a baller.
Now, I'm talking about people starting out, man. I'm not talking
okay.
I'm not talking about me, man.
We ain't talking about you, man. I hear you, man.
Talk that stuff. Well, something else. So going back to my mint dentistry guy, I met the guy one time on a plane, and he gave me some pretty good advice. At first, he's a little kind of standoffish, but the owner of the company, but so he started as a dentist, but he doesn't clean teeth anymore or do the actual
he's
dentist
just
work.
The owner. He's just the owner.
Yeah, well, he's in the business of creating
franchise. He makes franchises.
They're all I think they're all owned by the company. So,
really?
But yeah, he's just in the business of creating new offices.
Turn it into a franchise.
I think he got some real good funding somewhere. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was talking to me about.
I mean, I know franchises are actually a pain in it.
Yeah.
So,
but he's all over Dallas, all over Houston. Rolled up in a Rolls Royce.
Oh, for real?
Oh yeah.
That's what he pulled up in.
Yeah, we were on one of the little planes, and
you talking about them jets?
Yeah. So when we were landing, there was 2 Rolls Royces out there, 2 white ones, and so. It's like a rap video when you pull up, you get to walk to your car.
So one of them was his, and the other one was yours.
No, heck no. It's in a little Audi, but my buddy, I was joking with him, and when I took 2 of my friends to the game in Dallas, and there's like, they was pulling up to the airport, they could see the Rolls Royces while we're landing, and they were like, man, you got a car, you got a Rolls Royce for us for the weekend. And I was like, yeah, man, yeah, we're finna roll around hard. And then they got all excited. And then I said, no, I'm just joking, man. I said, we're riding that little car next to it. And so the dude, like, even though he was kind of reserved and quiet, he popped a joke. He was like, no, that's my Rolls Royce.
So he was like flexing on y'all?
Yeah. But, we had a whole conversation about wives and kids and all sorts of stuff. So we actually broke the ice pretty well. But he seems like a pretty solid dude. But it just... he actually wasn't too much older than we were, so it was just to see different levels. Like, for somebody, if your regular everyday car is a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
You know, a Phantom. Well, I think it was a Phantom, but whatever, which one it was. You know, you hate to say that, but you got to be doing well. You know, you look at all the dental offices he has around Texas. It's like there has to be some success there, and so it's just cool to see the different levels. Don't ever think. It reminded me. Don't ever think, because like it's easy for somebody to make a little money and think that they're the big fish, but you're really just a small fish.
Right.
You know, I tell everybody, small fish in a big pond.
Exactly.
And you can easily have the mindset. You know, I've had people tell me that to my face that they think I've changed.
Yeah.
And it's not that I've changed. It's now I know I can't be nice, Mr. Nice Guy to this guy. I can't be Mr. Nice Guy over here to these people because they take advantage of you.
Yeah.
So Mr. Nice Guy has gone away.
Yeah.
And now you change.
I mean, what's wrong with changing? Like, dude, I always say there's a quote that says a man that's the same at 20 or 40 has learned nothing.
That's right.
So I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. You know, some people you'll go back to some of your old friends and they're still doing the same thing they were doing. 10 years ago, and you know, sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's like, man, what? Really? You know?
Yeah.
So, it's okay to change. I mean, you got kids, and I mean, you got a kid and wife now, so you're gonna be changed a little bit.
And you know, at the same time, like with a little bit of compassion, or maybe just a little bit of thought of the other person.
Yeah.
I no longer will say, you know, you should do this or you should do that or you know, why do you still work there? Stuff like that, because
I don't. Yeah.
You might think that it's just a common
them.
question.
Yeah.
But it could be what's the word I'm looking for? It could be
insulting.
Yeah, it could be insulting to that other person because they may feel like, well, man, I'm doing just fine. I got a job. Fine.
I've experienced that. Yeah, exactly.
So.
I'm like, what? You think they're looking because they've come so far? Mm-hmm. You don't know where people start out. Yeah. They might start just like I've heard people come from like some ratchets, and now they're a little bit higher. You know, they got a steady job. They're married. They got some kids, and they're happy. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And so, and you're looking at it like, well, you're just making them like, don't you want to, you know, blah blah blah, and it's like, I mean, they're in a happy place. They're doing a lot better than, you know. It's all who you hang around. So.
And sometimes I think happiness is actually where, if you're happy there, stay there.
Yeah.
If you don't have a desire to keep pushing it, then stay there.
Yeah.
I think happiness is key. Whatever makes you happy, whatever situation that will make that person happy, and not, you know, look up and want out of, like, let's say, either necessity or want out of just plain old want, like the Jones effect.
Yeah.
If the guy driving around in a nice car doesn't affect you at all, you don't care about the car, and you're happy with your car or truck, and you don't care about, you know, this is the house I live in and I love my house, right?
Yeah.
Then there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, I totally agree.
I think I'm built different. Like I don't think there's a level of
there's a wall.
Comfort, you know, I just like to keep pushing to the next level. Like, okay, well, we got this far. What's next? We got this far. What's next?
I'll tell you this because I'm kind of like that, and I see there's the good and the bad in that. And there's a lot of people that are built like that because you're never really, really happy. You're satisfied for a little bit, and then you start looking around like, what's next? Yeah. And so you get that effect. So sometimes you just got to stop and smell the roses. And, you know, you're like, man, you got to stop and see, like, man, we've come a long way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And just show, like, gratitude and be grateful. But it's nothing wrong with trying to push forward either. But just always show that little bit of gratitude, you know.
So. I agree. Gratitude is important. I'm grateful every day. Satisfied, to me, is different than grateful. Yeah. So, like, I can be satisfied or not satisfied. Yeah. But I'm grateful throughout the entire process. I'm grateful that I'm here. I'm grateful that, you know, I'm blessed with health so far. Grateful that, you know, there's a certain level of intelligence. But just go to the next level. What's the next level? What's past this door? And it's more of a, you know, exploration at the same time. You see it in everybody's bios, like serial entrepreneur. And so, like, it's a cool term, but I think that when you think of serial entrepreneur, I can probably fit into that category. Yeah. But you know, to the truest sense. But it's just about, like, pushing the limits. What's next?
What do you think? Let me ask you a question. Do you think people that are rich are happier than people that are poor, or do you think You know, like what do you see? Do you think? Because I hear it from both directions. Like I've seen it, like, you know, I go to other countries and stuff, and I see people that have nothing, that you would think have nothing, and they're happy. And then you meet also the guy from Men Dentistry. Yeah. Was he happy? Did he seem like he was like irritated?
Seemed pretty happy to me.
That's what I'm saying. So, you know, you hear people like, oh, they're not happy. They're rich. They have more problems. The more things you own, the more things that own you. You know what I'm saying? You hear stuff like that. So
balance. I think balance is key. I mean, there's a lot of headaches that I have that I don't want to have. You know, like I can't go, you know, take off for 2 weeks. This is one thing we're talking about, vacations this year, where we're going, where we're going to try to go this year. Yeah. You know, so like my window to be gone is a week, you know, and that's pushing it.
Or it's going to cost you dollars.
Yeah, and you got it literally costs money.
$1,000 a day. I've been in that situation. Like, dude, this is costing. But you know what? I was like, I need this for my soul. I need this for my health. And so, you know, taking a couple of weeks, or frequent vacations is good. You know.
So it's tough to try to relax and not worry about some of the things you got to worry about. But you can only do that in 3 or 4 day increments. You can't do that for 2 weeks. You can't do that for a month. So like sometimes, you know, like I can see why maybe later on in the future I buy a ranch somewhere, you know, just like a small little 100 acres or 50 acre ranch, because you want to get away. Like you want to get out the city. You want to mess around with some animals or something, run some cows through some chutes. Like you dumb it down to the basic things. Yeah. And then you find joy in the little things. Like I find joy in the smallest little things. Like to be honest with you, my what gets me as a stress reliever is painting. Yeah. Like painting a wall in the house. Yeah. I love it. I hate doing it, but I love it. It's like I love
painting a house.
Yeah, like painting a wall.
I pictured you picturing like a Van Gogh painting. I was like, wow, man, you good at everything, bro.
Like just like literally painting a wall in a room, a different color.
It's funny, man. You'll see, like, you look on YouTube and it'll have like 9 million views. It's like somebody power washing. I was like, this guy has 9 million views, and all he's doing is power washing, and I'm sitting here watching it too for like 5 minutes. I'm like, dude, get that one piece right there, man.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But you know, so I think balance between different levels of success is always key. Yeah. Finding a way to be able to disconnect from something you're doing and not have to worry about it so much, because it'll drive you nuts. You'll literally you'll stress yourself out to where it affects your health.
Man, it's you'll hear about people that will sacrifice their wealth for their health. You know what I'm saying? All the time. So you gotta have, like you said, the balance, and you have to be. There's a lot of self-awareness involved. You know what I'm saying? So you don't jeopardize your health over your wealth and stuff like that. So, man, that's what I emphasize: health, wealth, spiritual self. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah.